So we stopped last session with the structure and the content of the European Sustainability Reporting Standards, the ESRS, and I want to go a bit deeper into these standards and the detailed content of the standards and the reporting requirements resulting from that, and how the companies have to adopt their sustainability reports and annual reports they disclose in the moment related to, or compared to that, what they have to disclose from 2024 onwards. And then we have these topic-specific standards we talked about before: environment, social, and governance. And we have seen then different non-financial key performance indicators from your selected reports you presented to us. And then we have the two cross-cutting standards, the ESRS 1 and ESRS 2, with the general requirements. And these cross-cutting standards also contain information about the materiality analysis. Why do we have to disclose this information? Because we don't have to disclose all these data points which are included in the topic-specific standards, only the data points which are relevant material for the company. And we found a lot of these non-financial indicators which were obviously material. The injury rate was mentioned, the greenhouse gas emissions were mentioned, the amount of waste was mentioned, but for the animal welfare was mentioned in the context of REWE, and that was different, for example, to other reports. So we have to identify what we do have to report about, and that is part of the materiality analysis. And from 2024 onwards, we have this double materiality principle of double materiality. At the moment, we only have one perspective, the financial materiality, the outside-in perspective. From 2024 onwards, we have the inside-out and the outside-in perspective. So we have the financial materiality and we have the impact materiality. So inside out means, how do I impact the environment? How do I have an impact on the workers in the value chain, for example? It contains risks, but also chances, opportunities for the non-financial matters. Here you can see climate change is one example. And then we have on the other side the outside-in perspective. So how this do differences in the environment affect our financial performance, for example? Do we have write-offs on machines or on properties because of environmental change? So we have also opportunities and risks resulting from this financial perspective. We have an impact and a financial perspective, and a combination of that decides on what we have to report. And so the amount of numbers we have to disclose increases with this principle of double materiality. And to identify what is material for others, for stakeholders, we have a stakeholder dialogue. So we have to go into a dialogue with our stakeholders. What are our stakeholders? Stakeholders are individuals or groups whose interests are affected or could be affected positively or negatively by the undertaking's activities. Also as part of the value chain. It can be the workers, that can be the shareholders, that could be the financial institutions, but also affected communities. And nature itself may be considered as a silent stakeholder. Even if we cannot ask for their needs, we have to consider nature as silent stakeholder, for example, with regard to ecosystems and diversity data points. So we have to include the stakeholder feedback when we decide on what to report. And we have to disclose also the results of these dialogue. So then we have seen a lot of key figures and non-financial key figures resulting from sustainability frameworks. At the moment, most of the companies referred to the GRI standards, and you also added, and in some cases, the relevant regulations from the ESRS. Aside, and here you can see one of these topic-specific standards, just a part of this standard, the structure, the content. This is ESRS E5, Resource Use and Circular Economy. And then you can see the objective of the standard and all of the disclosure requirements. Disclosure requirements related to the general disclosure requirements stated in ESRS 2. And when we have some concrete metrics and targets in all of these topic-specific standards. With regard to ESRS E5, these targets relate, for example, to resource inflows and resource outflows. We had a new example with Rewe, the amount of waste. So waste is also part of this standard. The amount of waste and the waste management has to be disclosed. And that's what you see on the right side of the slide that goes a bit into detail into these metrics and targets for E55, section E55, resource outflows. And this contains information, for example, about the waste and what's going to be done with the waste. So we have to disclose the total amount of the waste or the waste separated to the recovery operation type, for example. And then we have also disclosed the amount of products and materials and the engagement in the circular economy related to products and materials. And I want you to read a bit through these concrete requirements related to and the indicator you selected for your company, so that you choose these standards which refer to the non-financial indicator you selected, and then try to figure out if the information you found in the sustainability reports really relates to these standards, or if they have to adopt their reporting process, their reporting information, because of this requirements, which are more detailed than the requirements they have to fulfill at the moment. Do they have to change the content of the annual reports, the sustainability reports, or is it enough? Okay, and then I also added some examples in my presentation for some non-financial key performance indicator. As we have seen in your presentations, greenhouse gas emissions here for OMV, an Austrian group, and its actual carbon intensity for this year, or for the last year, and the reporting year, and the targets for the future, and then some information and the narrative part about scope 1, 2, and scope 3. And also from this group report of OMV, this Austrian group, we have a social topic here, reporting on employee matters. And we have the lost time injury rate. We also have seen that in your presentations before, so I don't want to go deeper into that. Rewe, one of your group has chosen Rewe as the selected company, and I also have integrated here one example out of the sustainability report of the Rewe group, and it's the energy consumption. And if you look into the ESRS, then you can identify that the structure here is not enough to fulfill the requirements of ESIS in the future because they have to disclose it more detailed. The amount of the energy consumption and especially the sources and the amount of renewable sources, resources. Here you have another example from the automotive sector, BMW. And it differs from the other examples because it's not one of the data points from the sustainability disclosures. It's a combination of the main goals the company sets out in their report. And it's a combination of financial and non-financial targets. So you can see that even if that is not mandatory, they combine then their strategic targets, financial and non-financial targets. You have the earnings before taxes, earnings before interest, taxes margin, and return on capital employed as performance measures, and then the achieved targets, or targets we want to achieve by 2025. And this relates to the amount of electrified cars they produce and sell. And then they have these non-financial key indicators, like the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. So that's a combination of the goals on the company level, group level. And when we have, of course, in the report of the company, some specific measures of this non-financial indicator, like the greenhouse gas emissions, again, and the amount of the waste, for example, total waste, and which materials, waste of which materials for recycling or for disposal. And this structure is also not enough to fulfill the requirements of ESIS E5 we've seen before. So they have to adapt their reporting process and give more information about then the structure of their waste. And they can also only fulfill these requirements if they work together with their supply chain, because they need the information of what is going to happen with the waste I give to another company. So I have to include that in the invoices, in the contracts, and that is also a question how I integrate it in the reporting processes. Okay, so I added some more examples to the one we had before from the environmental perspective, and here again one from the social perspective regarding diversity and the composition of the employees in the company, not only with regard to gender, but also, for example, with regard to age. We haven't talked about that before. Okay, and some more information about the composition of the workforce regarding the share of women in management functions. It's in the BFB group report. In the group report and in the report of BMW itself, differentiated from these two perspectives. The last example is Adidas, who reports about the working conditions in the supply chain. And I don't want to read through that. It's just to add another example to all the examples we have discussed for today. So I want to close the session today with this example, and again give you the information that you can find the next task on this document with the work assignments. And I want you to work deeper with to go deeper into these reports, sustainability reports, and then really try to find out if the key figures you identified harmonize with the ESRS, or how do they have to adapt the information they disclose in the moment. And then that gives us some hints about which information do I have to collect in the company, where can I find this information, and probably how is this information related to financial data. That's another point. So we try to find out, is this information necessary regarding according to the ESRS? Does it fit with the ESRS? If not, how do I have to change my reporting behavior? And how are these figures related to the financial performance of the company? And do I have to give some information about the relationship? Do I have to disclose a reconciliation between the non-financial data to the financial data? For example, the relationship between the mass, the amount of waste, and the revenues generated in a specific sector or generated by the company. So that would be the task for the next session.